Alright, Thunderfoot response video. Yeah, some more of this feminism, science, or whatever it is. Femiscience. So anyway, he does this, he has a science channel, right? And he's mixing this, whatever, this social commentary on feminism into his science videos. It's just a weird mixture of the dumbest with what's supposed to be smart and intelligent and logical. And it's just part of how everything is just broken. Another example of broken. Poor role playing. Anyway, I think this whole subject is worth investigating. I mean, all these subjects are really pretty interesting subjects in terms of the problem of growing up male and growing up female, and the fact that society, does create all kinds of wrong expectations, unrealistic fantasies to live out, and even when there's some positive recognition of something being imbalanced, then the balance isn't corrected. It's only perverted. Like, women get the right to be male assholes, the right to act like an asshole. So everything bad about men, women become, because they think that's what freedom is. Freedom is being an asshole. So it's kind of like slaves, becoming masters. And it's just, no, you're not supposed to become masters. These are not the only two choices, two versions of asshole. For different reasons, obviously. Submissive, and whatever the opposite would be. Abuser. That's not what you really want to create, is a perpetual chain of people going oink oink, and somebody. Well, anyway, so this video is just another one of these, just this the cheapest argument technique possible. Okay, the argument from cartoons, and cliches. But it's just this part where I stopped, and I said, oh, I have to make a video, was just where he's doing that thing where you just take clips of somebody saying words, like somebody could just take clips of my videos where I say skanky cunt, and they just play all the clips where I say skanky cunt, and that's a intelligent commentary. Just stupid. Yeah, really stupid. So anyway, this is the basic commentary here. Was like, some people are making some critiques of some of this social, cultural icon media, like Star Wars, and it has some issues, in the sense of role playing, right? And they are real. I mean, it's not like it's not a real problem in just the real world. It is. And so it even gets into the racism thing now. And so now he's just showing how he's kind of insensitive to a bunch of racial stereotypes that are fundamentally, they're real. They're not fake. They're real. And they're a problem. And he just pretends it all away, because he's an elitist living in his little elitist world where none of this stuff touches him. It's not a problem for him. He got past it, so therefore anyone who didn't is somehow, they deserve it. They should be run over by the tanks, or whatever his point of view is. They should get consumed by these negative cultural institutions, and they exist. So I mean, you could just go through the stupid parts, right? Like, you'd say almost sports. Okay, sports was stupid right from the beginning, especially kids, indoctrinating them into this silly soap opera of pointless competition. Totally unconstructive competition. Competition to be the best nothing. To be the most useless, to do the most useless possible idiotic thing. The silliest dance possible. Yes, let's give people trophies for that. And so what do we do to equalize things? We gave women the right, yeah, to play stupid sports in idiotic manner that no longer has any, that's now only for, people biologically constructed. Almost. You almost have to have the right biological construction now to play most sports. Most sports have a, you have to be tall enough, you have to be fat enough, you have to be all these things, you have to be enough of some physical thing to even have a chance. And these are things that are just very corrosive socially, I think. We shouldn't have institutions that basically have rulers, that say you're not tall enough or you're not big enough. I mean, it's just stupid. And yeah, that's the world we're made. And yeah, I'm just saying it's perfectly reasonable, I think, for people to say, well, that's a stupid world. We should do better than that. The scientists maybe should lead the way to a better future, instead of glorifying those very institutions, glorifying this very kind of role-playing fantasy life that has nothing to do with the reality. And look, this isn't a today problem. This is a problem. You could sit there and say Shakespeare was, a misogynist, what would be the word to say, insensitive. But the point was that Shakespeare was writing fantasy. So yeah, he seemed to always write just about people who didn't have the regular life. He didn't, he didn't write fantasies about how you get yourself out of the slum, or how you have a job and also an interesting life. So he just wrote stories about kings and queens and princesses and whatever, the elitists. Because those are the only people that pay for a ticket anyway. But that's a whole different... The point is that all this stuff, all this background theater construct, the stage mechanics, right, where we're given a certain amount of backgrounds and devices for the theater that we're putting on, and all of the devices and all of the instruments have all of these bad cliches written into them, this role playing, and I think it's reasonable for a scientist or somebody with a brain to say, yeah, there's a lot of this very negative construction in how we, in the environment that we are maturating human monkeys in. We're training the monkeys to think, this is my way out, this is my future, this is my hope, I'll go kill Darth Vader. It really is there. The psychology is there. It fucks with people's heads, in my opinion. No doubt about it. It makes us into assholes. And to play this game like it does, and it's just stupid. And again, so but the really big criticism is just how dumb this kind of argument is. This argument from bullshit cartoon. It steals all this shit first, so it's like he didn't make any of this video. He just puts together a bunch of sloppy little clips from Cartman and the Simpsons, and he takes from all these stereotypical kind of negative cliches of pop culture and uses them, to make this commentary in a very cliche, simplistic, Homer Simpson-esque manner, in this broad brush, exaggerated character. And that's what makes, yes, this is what appeals to the simple-minded. The simple-minded find it very appealing to make the good and the bad very extreme. To take a simple character defects and exaggerate them to create characters, right? I mean, Stan and whatever the other guy is, and whatever, they're all exaggerations of certain neuroses. And so this makes it really easy for us, because now we can tell what the character is by some neuroses, some aspect, some characteristic. And this is just kind of destructive. So anyway, and then underlying all of this is this whole idea of feminism, and this whole idea that, yeah, men and women are stuck in very different positions. Men are, mentally, their perception of women is corrupted, by this candy kind of aspect, this idea that it has a very crude utility, very crude. And women, conversely, have this perception, or, the utility of men for many women is disappearing, just because, yeah, men aren't necessarily employed anymore, decently or well, and they're not very responsible or take care of business, straight and narrow, kind of living their life, kind of thing. So they're not very dependable. Let's say that's the word. And so, yeah, this is another fracture in our social construction, because it's like everybody's becoming an individual contracting. And frankly, yeah, there's still incentive for men. They still need the drug, woman. And I think women are finding, I can live without them. They're certainly not worth the few minutes of service or utility they gain. Yeah, you know, in a lot of ways. So, I mean, I think some of that's great because as an anti-natalist, certainly it discourages the baby making crap and all of that stuff, because it's usually going to take, you know, more than one person to pull that one off, financially and practically. So, especially if, you know, the more kids you have, obviously it becomes more and more difficult not to be role-playing. I mean, somebody has to be somebody taking care of kids, and somebody has to be taking care of bills. So that's usually what's going to happen if you're going to have more than one kid. So that puts them back into the, you know, play the roles. So anyway, but, you know, for somebody just to crap on this thing, like this isn't a subject, and it is, like none of this is worth analysis when it all is. I mean, when you think about, you know, the social instruments that are psychologically fucking with people's heads, the images, the routines, the standards, the rhetoric, the form it's presented in, all of these things do send messages to brains. They do create expectations and dreams, and to pretend they don't, I think, is really, 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 really dumb. So anyway, he's just a jerk. A petty jerk with, I would speculate, a very, very, very small penis. Yes, very, 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 very. We ought to do some science on just how inverted his penis is.
Sexual objectification, sexual object. Sex object, sexually objectifying. I want to make an appeal first.
Yeah, see, that's just so brilliant, isn't it? As an argument technique, that is just so scientific, isn't it? yeah, I mean, you just expect that from the real, like Albert Einstein would do that all over the place, right? If he was making a counter argument, oh, it's a particle, he would just make fun, right, of all the people with their wave theories. He'd just play a bunch of clips of them talking about silly waves. It's just so pathetic.
To logic. When we're talking about sex objects,
sexual objectification.
Sex objects. Since these women are just objects, sex object.
And he couldn't do it for like 15 seconds. No, let's do it for 30.
When you sexual objectification, sex object. Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out. Sex object.
Yeah, isn't that a terrible statement? Just to sit there and say that, yes, this is all part of what we have been soaked in. I mean, we've been soaked in it like pickle juice. All right, through our whole life, we are soaked in this stuff, and we can see the difference. You can look at Renaissance art or some other kind of thing, and you can see that the standard for beauty was different, and it has changed over time. Even with, you know, power, the way power has changed, and the like I said, the images and these things do end up constructing the human race. I mean, we're becoming avatars, and what is the you know, the avatar for the male versus the avatar for the female is getting kind of funny. I mean, funny disconnected from anything close to a possibility.
Sex objects, sexual objectification, sex objects, and sexually objectified.
Oh, I mean, this, you know, I'm just saying, I mean, can't we just give him absolute, I mean, 4,665 thumbs up, 53 thumbs down for this kind of an argument. And, you know, it's a pretty wow, you know, goddamn commentary when you're saying this is what the monkeys on YouTube call some kind of, oh yeah, good piece of work there, good piece of propaganda. And isn't that all this is? And he's talking about trolls? He's calling people trolls when this is the kind of propaganda he puts on the internet? Holy shit. Nobody could say something like, holy fuck. That's just too stupid. It's not too stupid.
Define sex objects, a sexual object, sex object, sex objects.
Sexual objectification.
Again, so yeah, I bet that some of these are the same clips used over again. Isn't that even better? You can't, they're not even all original clips. He's just repeating the same clips in different orders.
Contributes to a culture where sexual violence isn't taken seriously.
So we go into parties and we know where we are in the pretty girl pecking order, and when another woman is valued for being a sex object, it actually makes us feel bad about ourselves. This is the
Yes, this is a true syndrome. Yes, this is a fact. That this is kind of a silly thing that we have to play this stupid competitive game, because guess what? We are psychologically, we are turned into these things, and then we have to convert ourselves out of it. It's something like even meat eating. You're raised in it, you become addicted to it, dependent on it, and then you have to do the work as a rational being to say, wait a minute, that's bullshit. I can do better than that. And then you have to work at doing better than that. You have to do this reprogramming, which means you have to kind of force yourself into an environment that you might not be comfortable in. Yeah, you might have to put on a dress and say, okay, I'll play with this. Because you've been constructed to be insensitive and to have a sense of value, to see value in the superhero throwing the big Hail Mary pass and winning the big game. I say with kind of a, yeah, I'm trying to mock it by, well, I was trying to be a little gay about it. But anyway, you get it?
sense of what sexual objectification means.
This is some bullshit. Everyone should be pissed that this is so...
Yeah, well, yeah, using another troll as an example of a troll, of a propagandist of a troll. So, I mean, another one using sex, talking about sex. So, yeah, that is a little bit fucked up. Yeah, it is a little bit fucked up.
normal.
Yeah, you're right, Lacey. People should be pissed that this is normal. That the only people that dehumanize women by calling them sex objects are feminists. I mean,
Huh? Sex objects are feminist. Well, yeah, I guess that would be the people who are for human rights are humanists. Yeah, and they're not Nazis. Right, okay, yeah, I got that part.
let me just repeat that for you. The only people who call women sex objects are feminists.
Oh, please. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, that's right. The victims recognize slavery. Yeah, the slave owners probably don't even call them slaves. They call them property. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The victims are going to have a different description of the crime than the perpetrator. Wow. Ooh. Yeah, I never figured that out, right? Yeah. I don't know. Like the date rapist calls it entitlement. Yeah. And the rape victim calls it, yeah, date rape. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I sort of get that.
Like Anita Sarkeesian. And tell me what you think calling women sex objects does for them, Anita.
It erases the reality that some choices that women make have an enormous negative impact on other women's lives.
So again, this jumping. So let's not deal with that point, right? Let's not deal with the point that when women sell out, become hookers, or when women do the, sugar daddy thing, or when women sit there and say, yeah, I'm just going to do what it takes to get me a celebrity husband. I'll sell it. Since I got it, I'm going to sell it. All right, I'm just going to go with my physical attributes and sell that hard. Isn't much different than, let's see, what's the male parallel for that? Being the basketball celebrity and realizing, wait a minute, I do absolute shit that impresses a bunch of little guys, weak, weak little fuckers, and they'll, glorify me and put, king's clothes on me. And what did I do? I put a ball in a fucking hoop. Yeah, I didn't cure cancer, did I? No. So, yeah, men rewarding men for being assholes. Hey, how many drinks did you drink? Hey, I did 30 shots. Can you do 32? Can you do 37? I mean, come on. I mean, it's almost like men are like men go to prison, and you're probably proud if you got like, yeah, I've raped 5 women. Yeah, and the other guy, oh no, he's got 7. Oh, I'm a loser because I've only stolen 2 cars and only. I mean, this is the psychology, and so Thunderfoot, the scientist, doesn't seem to understand there is something called psychology, that human beings have it, and that it's affected by all this crap.
Warned you we tried. Listen, you did not. Now screwed we all will be.
But let me just tell you, as someone who's spent a lot of time in the UK recently, that I have honestly heard on Radio 4, that's the BBC's factual radio, they described a new wave.
Yeah, you're the actual science channel on YouTube, right? This is a science channel on YouTube.
Of internet feminists as the toughest feminists yet. Other than, of course, the fact that Twitter gives them PTSD. Or remember that these new internet feminists teasing your sister, that's rape too.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, obviously they put all kinds of people on entertainment media to entertain, and that's too bad, right? That's a little bit too bad. Yeah, so I'm sure you've gotten some offers just because you're an asshole, and sometimes that's the way it works, and that's too bad. Okay, so just replace this kind of imagery with, Thunderfoot in the hot tub wearing a woman's bikini with 2 chicks, and then telling them, hey, it's your fault, bitches, if you get raped, because you asked for it. You put yourself in a compromised position.
He's someone else's system.
And of course, this new wave.
Oh, there's something wrong with that. It's something wrong with recognizing that, sometimes thinking about the feminists, the women in your own life, when you start thinking about what you're thinking when you're looking at some other woman, and recognizing that maybe you wouldn't want your sister treated the way your brain is thinking of treating that woman. Yeah, maybe you wouldn't. Maybe when you're ready to go lie to her about some shit so you can just get in her pants for the night, that maybe you should think maybe you wouldn't want your sister manipulated. Yeah, oh, that's a stupid thing to do. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be called logic, would it? No, is that anything like logic? No, that's nothing like logic.
Of internet feminists thinks that women are so weak that merely calling them bossy is what's scaring them away from leadership.
Yeah, well, that is a questionable piece of a theory. That's a theory, right? And probably, yeah, it's a little bit silly, but there is some element to it, right? That I mean, Hillary Clinton is looking an awful lot like Margaret Thatcher to me, and Margaret Thatcher looked an awful lot like, I don't know, Homer Simpson, or I don't know. I mean, something scary. Adolf Hitler's mother.
Stubborn, bossy. When I was growing up, I was called bossy.
I think the word bossy is just a swasher.
Being labeled something matters.
By middle school,
Girls are less interested in leadership than boys. And that's because they worry about being called bossy.
And yeah, these are.
Yeah, okay, that's a theory, Thunderfoot. It's not something you can sit there and do this. You don't slander people because they have a theory. Alright? You don't. I mean, it's just kind of stupid. I mean, what is your theory? Your theory is, okay, let's go with a couple of your theories. You have the theory that philosophy is genetic. Okay, so if you have a certain kind of philosophy and it's stupid, that genetically it won't exist anymore because you won't breed your philosophy. So if you have a philosophy that means you won't breed. So if you're an anti-natalist, for example, your philosophy can't possibly gain any momentum because you won't breed your philosophy. right? Even though you weren't born to antinatalists, obviously. And then you have a theory that if a woman doesn't go to the police after she's been raped, it means she wasn't raped. If a woman gets herself into a circumstance where she has no real evidence of rape, she just has evidence of sex, she therefore, okay, should go to the police, go through the whole interrogation process, the whole humiliation of examinations and evidence collection, all of that stuff for a case she knows she can't prove. She should do it anyway. So after being raped, she should be further humiliated to satisfy what? Your desire that she be fully humiliated. And that she be put in the position of making an accusation she can't prove. Another one of his theories. It's a stupid theory. I'll mock it. Yes, I'm mocking it now. But I'm not using cartoons to do it. I'm just arguing. On its face, it's mockable. It's a mockable theory on its face.
The same feminists who think the definition of the word rape should be expanded to include...
When my brother teased someone else's sister. I don't even know what that means exactly, but who cares?
Thought rape and word rape.
No. I get my thoughts by words, by looks.
Or they think that merely mentioning their name on Twitter is harassment, or making fake threats to themselves and getting themselves put in jail.
Right, so every time, so all I have to do is find one asshole who's a misogynist yourself, and I make fun of you, and therefore I've won the entire philosophical argument. So that's all it takes. It just takes one goofball on your side. So I can find one bad soldier in your entire army, okay, who doesn't believe in the cause, and then I can discount your entire war. Something like that. Your whole football team is no good if one player sucks.
Or, you know, just throwing around fake gang rape accusations like candy. Oh yeah. Bravo, modern feminists.
Yeah, again, you're saying that's your interpretation, and that's okay. Like I said, if people are actually sitting there defending people when they know it isn't rape, if that's your accusation, you're saying they're lying about it. Well, that's a fair accusation then. If somebody's lying, they know it's not, really didn't happen, they know there's no evidence, they know blah, blah, blah. They tell lie. Look, people lying sucks. So anybody lying should be prosecuted. And I think there's every feminist in the world might agree that a woman lying about being raped should go to jail. That it's a serious accusation, that she's only going to make it harder for women who are raped, that it's the worst thing a woman can do. It's a terrible thing for any human being to do, to lie about somebody else regarding committing a crime, and that they should be punished hard. What else do you want? But just to sit there and put that on the table, the women who lie about being raped, against the number of women who are raped and never get justice. That makes you sort of a petty lunatic, in my opinion. To put those things two on the scale and say that somehow you have now overcorrected because there are a couple of women who do stupid psychiatric things, psychotic women, now we will discount all of those victims. Fuck you.
But just because it's important, let me just remind you one last...
Well, let's see what all this is supposed to mean. Rolling Stone and UVA, the Columbia University graduation. With its publication, we are officially retracting a rape on campus. Winter touch with rising junior, blah, blah, who would soon. Okay, so I guess it's some sort of apology. So they apologize. They say, look, they didn't know there was the liars involved or whatever, or the people that didn't have evidence and the story didn't fit. And so what is exactly this means? Again, so if I find some misogynist male who's lying, who's actually been convicted of rape, who's actually a rapist defending rape, then I can say you're all rape defenders. Right? Is that your argument? I just have to find one anti-feminist who's actually a convicted rapist, and then I can just say you're all rape defenders. Okay, great. That's a fantastic standard. Yeah, you're gonna lose.
Time. Why feminists are the only people calling sexy women sex objects.
So we go into parties, and we know where we are in the pretty girl pecking order.
Yeah, well, obviously the objectification, part of the objectification would be the people who are objectifying aren't going to admit that's what they're doing. I mean, that's just so stupid. Like the racists are going to call themselves racists. No, that's not what they're going to call themselves. They're not going to self-identify.
When another woman is valued for being a sex object, it actually makes us feel bad about ourselves. This is the essence of what sexual objectification means.
This is some
Yeah, well, whatever. Apparently, scientists can't figure that out, so that's a little bit pitiful, isn't it? Yes, it is.
bullshit. Everyone should be pissed that this is so normal.
So again, he's just playing the same clip 3 times now. What men call sexy women. What men call sexy women. Feminists degrade as sex objects. What men call sexy women. I don't even know what this means. The fact that men have a category called sexy women is part of the whole problem. Is that there's this problem between men and women. And your solution is ignore it. Yeah, like that's going to fix it. Like that's going to do something about the fact that it's a reality. That it's a predator-prey relationship, and that's not very civilized. Retard. Especially when you're blaming women for being raped. So, you know, it is just such a gross duplicity. Yes, we want sexy. Yes, we want the excuse. So you know, that's just taking it. I mean, it's bad enough that you're sitting there defending that women have to play this game because this is the road to whatever princesshood, and yet you take no responsibility for the implications of the sexualization, which is men who will take it too far. Men who will use it as an excuse, as to say, I couldn't help it. Fuck you. You suck. Just thoroughly suck. Shitty scientist.